As a diabetic over 50, every small choice you make today is already shaping your future quietly inside your body, even when you feel fine. Your heart, kidneys, nerves, and eyesight are constantly under silent pressure, absorbing the hidden wear and tear of rising blood sugar. What most seniors never hear is that many dangerous diabetic complications don't strike suddenly. They build slowly, long before any warning signs appear. Studies now confirm over 60% of diabetics eventually face heart failure, kidney disease, or nerve damage, often because their bodies lack key protective nutrients, not simply because of sugar alone. The scariest part? These silent deficiencies can quietly accelerate diabetes progression, while routine checkups may still show normal numbers. That's why so many seniors feel blindsided when serious health problems finally show up, almost overnight. But here's what most doctors never explain. Nature already offers powerful natural allies, hiding inside simple fruits you see every week. These fruits aren't trendy superfoods or expensive miracle cures. They are everyday tools that, when chosen wisely, help stabilize blood sugar, protect vital organs, and slow diabetic damage silently from within. In this video, I'll reveal 7 specific fruits that modern science shows can strengthen your heart, shield your pancreas, improve insulin response, and help guard you from the long-term damage diabetes often causes after 50. And here's something very few people know. In the middle of today's video, I'll share one overlooked tip that even many doctors rarely mention, which may help lower your blood sugar naturally, starting within days. If you find this helpful, my friend, please support our growing community here at Over 60 Wellness by tapping that like button, sharing this with someone you love, and subscribing for more simple, science-backed ways to stay strong, healthy, and independent after 60. Because your health isn't just important, it deserves your full protection, starting now. Part 1. Green banana, nature's silent blood sugar protector. Now, let's be honest, my friend, managing diabetes after 50 often feels like a never-ending balancing act, doesn't it? You check your blood sugar daily, you try to eat the right foods, you take your medications, but deep down, you still worry about what's silently happening inside your body. Behind those glucose readings, your organs are fighting battles you can't see. Your nerves, kidneys, heart, and eyes are quietly absorbing years of sugar stress, often long before any serious symptoms show up. What many seniors never hear is this. Sometimes, it's not only the sugar causing harm, it's also the missing nutrients that were supposed to protect your body from damage. Over 60% of diabetics develop serious complications, not because they completely failed their diets, but because their bodies lacked critical vitamins, antioxidants, and protective compounds for years. The good news is, nature has quietly placed some of your most powerful protectors right inside simple fruits. When chosen wisely, these fruits don't just taste good, they help stabilize blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and shield your vital organs from long-term harm. Today, we're revealing 7 of the most powerful fruits every diabetic over 50 should know. Each one is backed by real science and can quietly work inside your body to help slow diabetes progression and protect your future health. And trust me, by the time we reach the last fruit, you may completely rethink your breakfast. Let's start with one fruit that most people never expect to help: green bananas. Not the sweet, soft yellow ones, but the firm, unripe green bananas that most people overlook. You see, when bananas are still green, they contain something very special called resistant starch. This isn't your typical carbohydrate that quickly turns into sugar. Instead, resistant starch acts much more like soluble fiber, slowing down digestion, delaying sugar absorption, and helping your pancreas handle blood sugar far more gently. Picture it like this. Resistant starch is your digestive system's traffic cop, slowing everything down, making sure sugar enters your bloodstream at a steady pace, not all at once. For seniors whose insulin sensitivity naturally declines with age, this kind of control is a game changer. The older we get, the less responsive our cells become to insulin. Each sugar surge forces your pancreas to work harder, pumping out more insulin just to maintain balance. Over time, this constant pressure wears your system down, leading many older adults closer to insulin resistance. But green bananas step in to ease that strain. Clinical studies show resistant starch may improve insulin sensitivity significantly and even lower fasting glucose by as much as 26%. That's like taking some of the heavy lifting off your pancreas, meal after meal. And the benefits don't stop there. Resistant starch also helps you feel full longer, reducing those mid-afternoon snack cravings that can quietly sabotage blood sugar control. Now here's a secret most people don't realize. The power of green bananas goes far beyond your bloodstream. It reaches into your gut, and your gut health is absolutely critical for diabetes management. As we age, our gut bacteria naturally weaken. Years of processed foods, stress, medications, and lifestyle choices take their toll, quietly damaging the balance of good and bad bacteria inside us. But here's where resistant starch becomes your ally again. Think of it like fertilizer for your gut's good bacteria. It feeds friendly microbes, allowing them to thrive and produce short-chain fatty acids that help regulate blood sugar, calm inflammation, and even improve how your muscles and liver handle insulin. In fact, many scientists now call your gut the second pancreas because of how deeply connected gut health is to blood sugar stability. Let me share a real-world story that brings this home. A client of mine, let's call him Frank, was 63 years old, frustrated, and tired. His blood sugar numbers kept creeping higher despite medications and diet changes. What finally made a difference? He simply added green bananas into his breakfast routine 3 times per week. Within a few months, his fasting sugars improved, his energy returned, and his doctor was shocked at how such a small shift had made such a big difference. That's the quiet power of resistant starch doing its work behind the scenes. Now, you might be wondering, how do you eat green bananas? Nobody enjoys chewing on a raw, tough green banana, right? Thankfully, there are easy, delicious ways to enjoy them. Slice and air fry them into crispy chips with a sprinkle of sea salt. Boil and slice them into stews or salads. Or use green banana flour in smoothies, pancakes, or low-carb muffins. This way, you're feeding your body's defenses without sacrificing taste. And believe me, my friend, this is only the beginning. Up next, we're exploring a juicy, sweet fruit that hydrates your body, supports your heart, and still keeps your blood sugar steady. What you're about to learn may completely change how you think about fruit and diabetes. Part 2. Cantaloupe, the heart-helping sweet treat. Now, my friend, let's move to a fruit that feels almost like cheating. It's sweet, it's juicy, and yet, it can still support your blood sugar beautifully. I'm talking about cantaloupe, one of nature's most refreshing summer gifts, and surprisingly, a strong ally for seniors managing diabetes. You see, most people assume that anything sweet must be dangerous for blood sugar. But cantaloupe doesn't follow that rule. What makes it special is its low glycemic load, typically around 4 to 5 per serving. That means when you enjoy a bowl of cantaloupe, your blood sugar rises very gently, like a slow wave, not like a sharp spike. This gentle rise is incredibly helpful for diabetics over 50. As we age, our body's ability to handle sugar smoothly becomes weaker. But cantaloupe's low glycemic load allows you to enjoy its sweetness without overwhelming your pancreas. It's a sweet reward without the hidden cost. Now let's talk about one of cantaloupe's most underrated powers, fiber. In just 1 cup, you get about 1 to 2 grams of fiber. While that may not sound like much, for a fruit that feels so light and sweet, it's surprisingly effective. That fiber helps slow down sugar absorption, keeps your digestion steady, and helps avoid the quick rises in blood sugar that cause fatigue and cravings later on. But fiber isn't the only hero hiding inside cantaloupe. It's also packed with beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A. This nutrient plays a critical role in improving insulin sensitivity, supporting your immune system, and even protecting your eyes, which, as you know, are often vulnerable in diabetics due to retinal complications. Cantaloupe also offers a generous dose of potassium, about 400 milligrams per cup. Potassium works quietly behind the scenes, relaxing your blood vessels, lowering blood pressure, and easing the strain on your heart. And for diabetics over 50, whose risk for cardiovascular problems grows each year, this benefit becomes absolutely crucial. But perhaps one of cantaloupe's most surprising gifts is its high water content, nearly 90% water. Staying well hydrated is often overlooked by many seniors, yet dehydration can silently raise your blood sugar and strain your kidneys. With cantaloupe, you're not just satisfying a sweet craving, you're also replenishing your body's hydration, helping your kidneys flush toxins, and giving your entire system a gentler environment to manage glucose. Let me share a simple example from one of my previous clients. Her name was Mary, 67 years old, and she loved sweet treats, but feared most fruits because of her blood sugar. When we introduced small portions of cantaloupe into her afternoon snack routine, paired with a handful of almonds, she noticed a remarkable change. Her post-meal sugars stayed stable, she felt fuller longer, and even her afternoon energy improved. Sometimes, the right pairing makes all the difference. Speaking of pairing, here's how you can enjoy cantaloupe while maximizing its benefits. You can cube it and mix with chia seeds or walnuts for healthy fats that slow digestion even more. Blend it into smoothies with greens like spinach or kale, creating a nutrient-packed meal that supports steady blood sugar. Or simply enjoy a chilled bowl of fresh cantaloupe as a refreshing dessert substitute. Remember, it's not just about avoiding sugar. It's about choosing the right kind of sweetness that works with your body instead of against it. And cantaloupe does exactly that. Now, don't go anywhere, my friend, because up next, we'll reveal a classic, familiar fruit that's been sitting in your kitchen all along, quietly holding incredible power to stabilize your blood sugar, protect your pancreas, and help manage your cravings. What you're about to hear may completely change how you think about this everyday snack. Part 3. Apple, the pancreas protector. Now, my friend, let's move to a fruit that's been sitting in your kitchen for years, often overlooked for its true power. I'm talking about apples, one of the most familiar, affordable, and surprisingly protective fruits for anyone managing diabetes after 50. You see, apples aren't just a simple sweet snack. Inside every bite, they contain a secret weapon called pectin, a type of soluble fiber that plays a powerful role in stabilizing blood sugar. When you eat an apple, especially with the skin on, pectin forms a gel-like substance inside your digestive tract. That gel slows down how quickly sugars are absorbed into your bloodstream, creating a much smoother, gentler rise in blood glucose. No dangerous spikes, no rapid crashes, just steady, controlled energy your body can handle more easily. For seniors whose insulin response may already be slowing down, this steady release is like giving your pancreas a break every single time you eat. Less insulin is needed. Less pressure is placed on your system. And over time, that can help preserve pancreatic function longer. But pectin is only part of what makes apples special. They're also rich in polyphenol, powerful plant compounds that go far beyond simply slowing digestion. One of these polyphenol, called quercetin, has been shown to improve insulin sensitivity, reduce oxidative stress, and even help protect the very pancreatic cells responsible for producing insulin. Think of quercetin like a bodyguard standing watch over your insulin-producing machinery, shielding it from the daily wear and tear that slowly breaks it down in many diabetics. And here's something many people don't realize. Apples score very low on the glycemic index, around 35 to 40. That means they release sugar much more slowly compared to many other fruits. This makes them an incredibly safe, everyday option for diabetics, even when enjoyed regularly. The fiber, the polyphenol, the antioxidants, they all work together to create a kind of natural defense system inside your body. But it gets even better. Apples also support gut health, which, as you now know, is deeply tied to blood sugar control. The fiber in apples feeds your beneficial gut bacteria, helping them thrive, reduce inflammation, and signal your body to process sugar more efficiently. It's like you're strengthening your gut's internal control center every time you bite into one. Let me share the story of a gentleman I worked with named Harold, who was 68 and very cautious about fruit because of his diabetes. He hadn't eaten apples for years, thinking they might raise his sugar. But when we carefully reintroduced apples into his afternoon snack routine, always eaten whole, with the skin, he saw surprising changes. His post-meal sugars stayed steady. His digestion improved. And most importantly, he finally felt confident enjoying fruit again without fear. Sometimes, it's not about cutting everything out. It's about choosing wisely. Now, if you're worried about pesticides, don't be discouraged. You can easily remove most surface pesticides by soaking your apples in a mixture of baking soda and water for about 15 minutes. This simple step can remove up to 80% of the residue, allowing you to enjoy all the benefits safely. Here's the easiest way to enjoy apples for maximum benefit. Always eat them whole, with the skin. You can pair apple slices with a spoonful of natural peanut butter or a handful of walnuts. The healthy fats slow digestion even further, keeping your blood sugar steadier and helping you feel full longer. Or dice them into your morning oatmeal for a fiber-rich, nutrient-packed breakfast that supports your gut and your glucose at the same time. Remember, it's not about avoiding sweetness entirely. It's about finding smart, natural sources of sweetness that work for you, not against you. And apples are one of the safest, smartest fruits in that category. Now, stay with me, because up next, we're about to explore a small, fuzzy fruit that packs an unexpected punch. This tiny green powerhouse not only stabilizes blood sugar, but may also help calm your digestive system in a way most people have never heard. What you'll discover may completely change how you view your next grocery trip. Part 4. Kiwi, the tiny green powerhouse. Now, my friend, let's turn to a small fruit that many people overlook at the grocery store, yet it holds incredible power for managing blood sugar and digestion. I'm talking about kiwi, that tiny, fuzzy green fruit that quietly delivers some surprising benefits for seniors living with diabetes. The first thing that makes kiwi special is its natural digestive enzyme called actinidin. This unique enzyme helps your body break down proteins more efficiently, easing the workload on your digestive system. When your digestion runs smoothly, your blood sugar responds better because the glucose enters your bloodstream more slowly and steadily. For seniors, this smoother digestion can mean fewer sugar swings and less fatigue after meals. But digestion is only part of kiwi's magic. Its glycemic index is around 50, which is considered low for fruit. This means it releases sugar into your bloodstream gradually, not all at once, providing steady energy without sharp spikes or crashes. Combined with about 2 grams of fiber per fruit, kiwi helps slow sugar absorption even further, keeping you full and reducing cravings that often lead to overeating. Now let's talk about its incredible vitamin C content. Believe it or not, one kiwi contains even more vitamin C than an entire orange. And for diabetics, this matters deeply because vitamin C not only strengthens your immune system, but also reduces chronic inflammation, a major contributor to insulin resistance and diabetic complications like nerve damage. Kiwi also brings potassium to the table, about 215 milligrams per fruit, helping to maintain healthy blood pressure and support heart health. Two concerns that become increasingly important after age 50. I remember one client, Barbara, who was 70 and often struggled with bloating and sugar swings after meals. When she started including one kiwi with her lunch every day, paired with a small handful of walnuts, her digestion became smoother, her sugars more stable, and surprisingly, her evening energy returned. That's the quiet power of this little green fruit doing its work. To enjoy kiwi for maximum benefit, slice it into salads, blend it into smoothies with spinach and chia seeds, or simply enjoy it fresh with the skin on. Yes, even the skin, which contains additional fiber and antioxidants. If the fuzz bothers you, give it a light scrub before eating. Now stay with me, because next, we're moving into a citrus fruit that works like a natural blood sugar brake. What you're about to discover may completely change how you approach your meals. Part 5. Lemon, the natural blood sugar brake pedal. Here's a fruit that may surprise you with its power. Even though it's not sweet at all, lemon. This little sour citrus holds secrets that can quietly support your blood sugar and digestion far more than most people realize. The real secret lies in its high citric acid content. Citric acid slows down the digestion of carbohydrates in your stomach, which means sugars enter your bloodstream at a much slower pace. This gentle release helps prevent the post-meal spikes that often leave seniors feeling tired, inflamed, or even shaky hours later. Even beyond digestion, lemons bring a healthy dose of vitamin C, around 30 to 50 milligrams per fruit. And as you know by now, vitamin C is more than just an immune booster. It helps reduce chronic inflammation, improves insulin sensitivity, and protects your blood vessels. All areas diabetics need to guard closely. Lemon also helps your body absorb important minerals like magnesium and iron, both of which are often low in people managing diabetes. These minerals play crucial roles in nerve health, energy production, and preventing complications like diabetic neuropathy. I once worked with a gentleman named Richard, 65 years old, who began his meals with warm lemon water. Over several months, his after-meal blood sugars improved, his digestion became more comfortable, and surprisingly, his nighttime leg cramps, linked to magnesium deficiency, greatly diminished. If you want to add lemon to your routine, squeeze half a lemon into warm water about 15 minutes before meals. This prepares your digestive system and supports smoother glucose processing. You can also drizzle fresh lemon juice over salads, grilled fish, roasted vegetables, or even add frozen lemon slices to your water throughout the day for a refreshing, hydrating boost. Now, my friend, don't go anywhere, because up next, we're exploring a tropical fruit that not only protects your blood sugar, but may also help defend your nerves from diabetic damage. What you'll hear next may surprise you. Part 6. Guava, the nerve protector. Now let's travel to the tropics for one of nature's sweetest weapons against diabetic nerve damage, guava. This often overlooked fruit brings far more to the table than just its bright flavor. The secret behind guava's power lies in its rich content of lycopene, the antioxidant that gives guava its vibrant pink or red color. Lycopene helps combat oxidative stress, which is one of the leading causes of nerve inflammation and damage in people with diabetes. When oxidative stress builds, it can quietly destroy the tiny blood vessels that nourish your nerves, especially in your feet and hands, leading to the burning, tingling, or numbness so many diabetics fear. But guava steps in to shield those vessels, reduce swelling, and support healthy circulation. This protection becomes even more important as we age, when circulation naturally slows and nerve health becomes more fragile. Despite its sweet taste, guava is remarkably gentle on blood sugar, with a glycemic index as low as 12. This means it releases sugar very slowly into your bloodstream, making it one of the safest fruits for diabetics to enjoy regularly. Even better, one guava delivers nearly 9 grams of fiber, especially when eaten with the skin. That fiber further slows digestion, keeps you satisfied, and helps maintain stable glucose levels throughout the day. Guava also provides an enormous dose of vitamin C, up to 4 times more than an orange, which supports insulin production, strengthens your immune system, and protects your blood vessels from the strain diabetes can place on them. I once coached a client named Susan, 66 years old, who was battling early signs of neuropathy. By adding 1 fresh guava with a squeeze of lime into her afternoon routine, combined with guava leaf tea in the evening, her blood sugar stabilized, her nerve discomfort lessened, and her energy improved noticeably. To enjoy guava, slice it fresh, skin and seeds included, and pair it with lime juice for extra antioxidant absorption. You can also brew guava leaves into a gentle tea. Some communities even simmer guava leaves with cinnamon to create a soothing after-dinner drink that may help lower glucose levels naturally. Now, hold tight, because next, we're about to introduce a creamy fruit that's not sweet at all, yet may offer some of the most powerful protection for your heart and pancreas. What you'll learn next may completely change how you view one of the trendiest superfoods today. Part 7. Avocado, the pancreas protector and heart hero. Finally, let's talk about a fruit that many people never think of as a fruit, avocado. This rich, creamy food delivers some of the strongest support for both blood sugar and heart health, especially for seniors managing diabetes. The secret lies in its high content of oleic acid, a healthy monounsaturated fat that helps your cells respond better to insulin. With better insulin sensitivity, your pancreas doesn't need to release as much insulin after meals, reducing strain on the system and keeping your blood sugar remarkably steady. Avocados also have one of the lowest glycemic indexes among fruits, around 15, meaning they barely affect your blood sugar levels. With nearly 7 grams of fiber per fruit, they help you stay full longer, prevent snacking temptations, and maintain steady energy throughout the day. Beyond blood sugar, avocados bring powerful heart protective nutrients like potassium and magnesium, both of which help regulate heartbeat, relax blood vessels, and lower blood pressure. Vital benefits as cardiovascular risks rise with age. I recall a client named James, 70 years old, who struggled with both diabetes and high blood pressure. Once he started incorporating half an avocado into his breakfast routine, often mashed on a whole grain toast or diced into salads, his morning blood sugar stabilized, his blood pressure improved, and he even found himself craving fewer unhealthy snacks throughout the day. To enjoy avocado, mash half on a whole grain toast, sprinkle with chili flakes or lemon juice, or toss diced avocado into salads. You can also blend it with Greek yogurt and a pinch of cumin for a creamy, satisfying dip that's both blood sugar friendly and heart protective. Now, as we wrap up, let's take a moment to bring it all together. Conclusion: simple daily choices, powerful long-term results. Now, my friend, let's step back and see the bigger picture. Throughout this video, you've learned that managing diabetes after 50 doesn't have to mean living in fear or frustration. You don't need to cut out everything you enjoy. You don't need complicated diets or expensive programs. What you truly need is simple, daily, consistent choices, small habits that quietly work for you every single day. The 7 fruits we explored are not magic pills, but together, they create a powerful defense system inside your body. Green bananas support your gut and stabilize sugar after meals. Cantaloupe hydrates you while protecting your heart. Apples help shield your pancreas and balance digestion. Kiwi strengthens your immunity and eases post-meal glucose swings. Lemons slow sugar absorption and prepare your body before meals. Guava helps defend your nerves against diabetic damage. And avocado calms your insulin response while protecting your heart and blood vessels. When combined, these fruits don't just manage blood sugar today. They protect your independence tomorrow. They help you wake up stronger, move more easily, stay sharp longer, and live life on your terms. That's the real goal, isn't it? Not just better numbers, but better years ahead. So here's my advice to you. Start small. Add 1 or 2 of these fruits into your daily routine this week. Notice how your energy changes. Pay attention to how your digestion feels. Slowly build these habits into your meals, and you'll be amazed how your body responds. Because when you nourish your body with the right tools, it fights for you in ways you never imagined. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. Here at Over 60 Wellness, we're building a community of seniors just like you, learning, sharing, and taking back control of our health, one smart choice at a time. If you found today's video helpful, please support us by clicking the like button, sharing this video with your friends or loved ones who might benefit, and subscribing to our channel Over 60 Wellness for more simple, powerful tips on managing your health after 60. Your support helps us create more videos like this and reach even more people who need this information. And finally, leave a comment below. Which of these fruits surprised you the most? Which one will you try first? I read every comment, and your feedback inspires us to keep creating even better videos for you. Until next time, take care of your body, nourish your future, and remember, small choices today create stronger tomorrows.